July 23rd, the most powerful day of the year. Welcome to my video where I talk about July 23rd, 2016. Now, I've done videos on the nature of July the 23rd in several years before now, and it's always been an amazing day for me. And it's not because it's the most powerful day in the year, because everything happens or really powerful people do something or anything else like that. That comes from a misunderstanding of the true nature of power. Power, the simplest definition is power is the ability and the willingness to act. If you have the ability and the willingness to do something about something or anything, you're exercising power. You're exercising your power. And power is often considered to be like power over or power to dominate or intimidation. It's not like that at all. The source of true power is feminine in its nature. The source of true power is feminine. Now, there are a lot of implications that flow from that. And right about this, I don't want to get into that. I'm not saying women are powerful and men are useless or anything like that. I'm not going to those sort of extremes. But power comes from a feminine source, a feminine energy. And therefore, because it's the source of power is feminine, true feminine energy has no desire to be on top. Why? If you're already powerful, if you're already the source of power, why would you need to dominate? Why would you need to be on top? On the other hand, that source of power has no desire to be alone because it thinks there's so much more fun, and it's true. There is so much more fun in doing things together. So when you look at the true nature of power, it comes when people have no need to dominate and be on top. Real power. So it's very quiet, the Chinese would call it very yin, And it also is motivated by let's enjoy ourselves by creating things together. So the very nature of power is to empower others. And to empower you. And so, being the most powerful day of the year, I've often found wonderful things happen, but it's not adrenaline and it's not like power. It's much more like quiet, beautiful energy. I feel a sense of real confidence because I don't need to prove anything or dominate anybody. I feel very comfortable in myself on that day. It's something I've noticed over 10, 20 years on that particular day. It varies from year to year, by the way. It's not always exactly the same, but it has that general quality. And there's a certain clarity and joy in sharing what I do with other people. And I've often found if I do a consultation, run a workshop or anything on that day, it seems to just have this wonderful sizzle about it. And not even so much sizzle, but it's just a beautiful experience. And everyone really enjoys it. Because there's this flow of power. It's a powerful day. It's a day when you can be full of power. The ability and the willingness to act naturally at what you're really good at doing. And so it can be quite a quiet, seem non-eventful day. There have been days when I've done nothing on the 23rd and it seems like very non-eventful, but beautiful. And there's this energy that comes with it. And that energy impacts the world from the 23rd of July to the 15th of September. It's often called the dog days of summer in the Northern Hemisphere. When there's more energy. It's like the sun seems a little hotter. July, August often seems really hot. I remember living in Washington, D.C., and it's always considered that it's really hot in August. And it was when I was there, the year I was there, in August, it was hot. But it's more like there's just this energy there, and it's an energy for clarifying things. It's often considered in the past to be a time of purification, but the purification is more about getting rid of the stuff, the confusion. Realizing confusion leads to clarity. So don't freak out about it. There's this sort of confidence that I can work through whatever's going on. And therefore you can, clean up your act, as they say, or like being in a sweat lodge, you can just sweat it out. And you can be refreshed and renewed and re-energized by this energy. Really brought back in track. And July the 23rd is the day where traditionally for thousands of years, that's just when it happens. And it comes from the fact that on that day or around that day, within 24 hours, one way or the other, the sun moves into Leo, and at the same time Sirius rises just before the sun rises in the morning. Now the key to it is this, and one of the things I really learned from human design is that 70% of the neutrinos, the fundamental energy that floods us here on this planet, comes from our sun. So the sun is, as astrologers have said for a long time, a very powerful influence in our life. Neutrinos are about communication between all the various levels of what's going on. They're not quite energy, they're not quite matter, they're a bit of each, and they're very much facilitating the communication of energy and information and bringing energy into formation and taking information into energy. They're very much involved with that. And that's a whole other thing I do in other videos and courses that I'm running. But the energy from the sun is pouring in, and it's just at the very beginning of Leo, the sign of Leo. And Leo traditionally is the place where the sun is most at home, it's strongest. And the very, very, very first degrees of Leo are the most Leo. And so just as the sun crosses into Leo, it's really at home, it's really powerful, the energy's flowing. And at the same time, Sirius is a star that produces neutrinos. But it's very deeply connected to our history on many levels, from physical to spiritual, and everything in between, in terms of being really connecting us to the source of all power, to the original connection to feminine energy, or the feminine. And so the neutrinos, the energy flowing from Sirius, comes in just as the sun comes on the horizon, and just as it's entering into Leo, it's like there's this beautiful synergy and merging together of our connection and our ability to communicate with the energy of the feminine in its true source form, to tap into power, and at the same time tap into the core of who we are, which is what the sun represents. And the source of so much information merges with how to use, our sun is the biggest source of information and energy on our planet, in our lives. And neutrinos can pass through the planet, so it doesn't matter whether you're on the other side of the planet or not. You're still getting soaked in it. You're picking up that energy. And that's the energy that's 70% of how we really live our lives. It's 70% of the information on the internet comes through the sun. I'm just using that as a metaphor. And it's aligned with the source of all power. And so the ability to really know and to tune into what you need to do to be in touch with your power as a unique individual. For you to get clear on that, to align your core energy with the purity of that core energy and the information on how to use that in the most powerful way. They all just line up and we get flooded with it. It's like a reminder, a wake-up call. Hey, if you got a little lost with that, just come back on track at this particular time. And it has a really strong impact over the next 55 days through to the 15th of July. And then there's another peak. It sort of fades out and then peaks again for the last time on the 23rd of September, which we'll talk about when we come to that time. It's an equinox, and there's also it's the second most powerful day of the year because it sinks in with the 23rd of July and what happened there. And so what do you do about it? We'll say, well, what does that mean to me in my real life? Well, be open. It's not like you have to go, okay, I've got this information now, I've got to do this, that, or anything else. We've all got to dance under the stars, or we've all got to meditate for a few hours, or what. If you love dancing under the stars, do it. If you love meditating, do it. But what it means to me is just be open to the experience. That's something we need to do every single day of our lives. But on that day, there are whispers, there are things going on, there are opportunities to share. There are opportunities to express yourself that will, in that expression, in what you share with other people, in what you experience with other people, in what happens around you, there's the whispers, the hints, the clues as how you can be truly powerful in a way that's natural for you. It's emphasized on that day. It's the most powerful day of the year. And so it reflects to you how you can be at your most powerful place. Or it might reflect to you what's getting in the way of you truly being powerful. But remember, this is not in-your-face power. It's not intimidating, scary power. Now, when you put it, so it's quite possible that it'll be just like another day. And if you weren't aware and paying attention, or weren't just open to what's going on, you'd miss it. You might pick it up subconsciously, you would, and unconsciously, but consciously, if you pick it up consciously, it's far more useful. You're more aware of it. You can get the message, get the whispers. You can make the corrections. You can become more conscious of things, which has a big impact on your business, on your relationships, or whatever. And you can also just soak up a really gentle but powerful, refreshing energy flowing into your life. I liken it to something like the Karate Kid movies, or something where you've got the Mr. Miyagi. Doesn't make a big deal about things. He's a really powerful martial artist and that, but wax on, wax off, wash this, do that, for those of you who've seen those movies. It's just like very everyday. And yet he brings so much wisdom and knowledge and enlightenment, you might say, to the life of the person he's involved with, if they're open to him. And if they're not, no. And when necessary, when it's called out, when life demands it, boom, he can do what needs to be done and just leave it at that. Now that's an example of the healthy use of power. It's not the only example. It's not the ultimate example. It's just an example. But there's that gentleness that you see in all great martial artists who are really high up in the, all the ones I've had any contact with, once they've really got into it. Yeah, some of them can be stroppy and whatever. We're all different. But the ones that I've really known are there's just this elegance and ease about the way they live their life. And yet there's so much power there. And this gentleness often just stands out. Outstanding gentleness and yet incredible power and humility. So that's an energy you can tap into. Now, in the context of this year, the whole energy is about co-creation. Now, when you look at the news, that seems to be the complete opposite of what's going on. Everyone's polarizing in politics. Not everyone, but there's a massive amount of polarization going on all around the world. No one's quite clear what the hell's going on. It looks like we'll never be able to work together. Britain's leaving the European common market. American politics is really polarized. Politics in the Middle East and all that, Or things are being kept under wraps by different cultures, and it's debatable which is the better approach. Is that co-creation, where each person is respected as a unique individual who truly has a gift to offer and is worthy, and they're supported in really realizing that? And then people who are empowered to be that way start working together. It seems to be the complete opposite of what's going on in the world. But this is the year when we realise not only that it's essential, but we start to really learn how to truly do it. Not just theoretically, not just rah-rah speeches, but really do it. Come to grips with what's involved there. And as I've said in my other videos, particularly the one about July is this time where we're having to see, well, where do we need to mature? Where do we need to not where do we need to mature because we're not together? Where do we need to mature? Because there are parts of us that need to mature. Where do we need to grow? There's not the pressure that there's so many things happening. And it's obvious polarizing is not going to solve the problems of America. We're going to have to, people are saying once they get their hearts open up, well, we've got to heal, we've got to work together. And various parts of the world. We can't just separate out and leave people to their own things, and then they get really disgruntled and really angry and upset, and they turn into people who do some of the terrible things that have happened in the world. No, it's like, hold on. The solutions to this are going to come through co-creation, working together. But we need to mature. And we need to realise that co-creation is not just rah-rah, win-win. It's not that. It comes beyond just teamwork, beyond just community, beyond just even, how can I put this? Having a community with a real spirit. But it's got to get in touch with the fullness of what life is. Each of us have to get in contact with who we are visibly and invisibly. We need to start drawing upon the resources that we can't see but really exist, and supporting people developing the resources that they bring in their physical lives together to the table. The emergence and development of individuality that then can be brought powerfully to the table and shared. We need to learn the skills of relating, not just forcing people into relationships. We need to learn the skills of relating with people who are really different, because every single one of us is really different. How can we allow that in a way that allows us to be a complete and utter individual, and at the same time gives them the space to be that way, and we can still work together, not compromise, but create, really love and respect the differences in people, really listen, and not just do that as a mental exercise, but learn how to be ourselves and to trust out the authority we carry within us and bring it to the table without demanding another person be the same way, but learning to relate to them, or another country act the same way we do. I mean, there are so many skills needed there. And this year, it boils down to empowering yourself and then creating a space that empowers another person as well. So both of you can relate to each other as empowered people. Countries can be empowered. People with political differences can feel empowered. They don't have to point fingers and waste time in intellectual jousting and bringing up facts that support their point of view, and other people bring up the same different facts that support. And it's like, hold on. Give me the best of what you've got, because I'm bringing the best of who I am to the table without apology. Now, how can I support you in bringing the very best? And July the 23rd is a watershed in this, and the days that follow through to September the 15th in this year. Because it's going to release a whole fresh energy specific to this year of, what is it to be powerful? What is it for you? And how do you create a space that encourages other people to be powerful around you? I could give you a couple of takeaways. Give me a couple of takeaways. It's going to be unique to you and your experience. The best takeaway I can give you is, like any day, don't let it pass you by, but especially that day, be open to the clues, the whispers, the hints, sometimes the shouts, sometimes the obvious examples of you truly being powerful in a truly gentle and relaxed way, and another person being powerful, allowing other people to be powerful, seeing how beautiful life can be when you're feeling confident in your own power, or how beautiful life can be when you not have to push anything and you can just truly enjoy the unique energy of a day. Be open, listen to the whispers. Or don't overlook the obvious. You don't have to be all woo-woo, just don't overlook the obvious. Keep your eyes open so you can see what is happening, not what you think should be happening. And if it makes you feel odd or uncomfortable, be with it for a while. Give it a chance to express what it really has to share with you. This is an incredible time in our history when it seems like everything's falling apart, and in fact, the need for everything to come together is becoming more obvious than ever before. And not only the need to do it, but the energy and the consciousnesses around and ready to mature and develop in a way that it can happen. Just when we think, so many times in my life, just when I think it's falling apart is just before it's about to come together. And that's where we're at the moment. Now, it might not happen this year or next year or whatever, but it is happening. And July 23rd is a great day if you do nothing else, but just reflect on that. Just give a bit of your time and attention and consciousness and energy to that in your own unique way. And then over the next years and decades ahead, see what a difference it makes. Because it will. Because you matter. And when you're conscious, when you're aware, when you're being yourself, you make a difference. Otherwise, there'd be no need for you to be here. When you're enjoying your life, it makes a real difference. When you're seeing the beauty of your life, it makes a real difference. When you're doing the thing that only you can do in the world, it makes a real difference. And July 23rd is a great day to celebrate and empower that. So have a wonderful July 23rd. And yeah, I'll talk to you next time we talk. Bye.